up in El Salvador in Central America, and I was the youngest of 4 children. We only have like the basic needs covered, like we had something to eat and a place to stay, but I wasn't able to go to school or have any other kind of, education or commodity. My parents find out about the compassion program through the church they were attending to. At first, I didn't really know what it meant, I just knew that I was gonna be able to go to school, I was gonna be able to have school supplies. But then I received the first letter from my sponsor, and it was just like super exciting, and like just knowing that somebody like in another side of the world was taking the time to write a letter to me, and he just sounded so excited to know me, and I didn't even know who he was. After a year I became part of the program, my parents started having problems in their marriage, so eventually they got divorced. And my mom decided to leave the country and live in the United States. And I don't really recall if I ever told my sponsor what was happening, but being with my broken heart and just getting those letters and just hearing from him, and he telling me all these things about God and just how much he loved me, and he was caring not only for my physical needs, but also spiritually. Eventually, my mom remarried here in the United States, and I had just graduated high school then. So, my whole family agreed that it was a good opportunity for me to come and just go to college here. And so the first year, I just pretty much studied English, and I started looking for churches, and that's how I found Calvary Chapel. Once I became better with my language and I was able to come and not have the translator on my ears, I lost the fear of getting involved in the church, and the first thing I became part of was a mission trip, actually. I went to Peru with the young adult ministry with Icon, and just so many great people who became my friends and became my family at the moment, because I really didn't know anybody. So they started being there for me, and I started serving in the church and other ministries. And one day I was looking in the computer, and I realized that the high school ministry was going on a mission trip to Africa, to Ethiopia, and I've always dreamed to go to Africa, like since I was little. I found out about one of the leaders, and she told me it's a compassion trip. Like, we're going with Compassion International, and we're gonna do ministry and their projects. And I was just like, wow, compassion, wow. And so I told her how I was a former compassion child, and she got really excited, and she's like, oh my gosh, this is the Lord, he's opening the doors, and I really think you need to be on this trip. So I ended up going with them, and it was just amazing, like just to be there and, to be able to stand in front of all these children that I just felt so connected to, because I was one of them once, and they did too. Like, I was able to share my testimony with them, and I just felt that it was like confirming to them of the good plans that God had for them. After that trip, I really felt that God was calling me, to take the step of faith and say, you know what, I'm a college student, I know I don't have that much income, but I started sponsoring this child actually at that project. We were at that project. So it was amazing, to go into that level of being myself the one changing the life of a child. If I could see my sponsor now, I would just let him know that the God he serves is amazing, and that what he did was just a little piece of the great plan that he had for me, and he was part of that plan in my life. And it would be just amazing to get to see him, to know him, and to let him know of all the great things that happened in my life.